Horizon Gents, welcome to TierZoo Reaction, and this is Are Flying Builds OP by the channel TierZoo. Yeah, flying builds are OP because they can fly. I mean, do we even need to think about this? Even if they are not OP, they are OP just because they can fly. But yeah, TierZoo will tell us in detail. TierZoo is an awesome channel. I love reacting to these videos. You know, he always creates some funny spin in some game type animes, and it's always awesome. I've got quite a few TierZoo videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cast. There's a playlist calculator for it. TierZoo Reaction, something like that. Check out the playlist too, like Oldly Sarcastic Production, Interhistorian, Real Life Locals Gazard, things like that. And yeah, let's watch this one.
This video was sponsored by CuriosityStream. Some of the abilities players can unlock in this game are downright broken. From the stealth pierce—
That shit was way too funny, isn't it? That small bot came like, okay, can I get some of this? And the bot didn't even see it. Just, it was just flapping the wing, slapped it around. Like, oh, what was that?
piercing power of electroreception, to the stamina regenerative power of sweating, to the survivability of cryptobiosis. It seems like every build in the game has at least one or two abilities that define their playstyle and grant them a unique edge in the competitive meta. But there's one ability that, more than any other, sparks jealousy in the hearts of players that don't have it: flight. It's been unlocked by only 4 factions in the history of the game. First it was insects, then pterosaurs, then birds, and finally mammals. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Flight is one of the most overpowered abilities in the game. It has a vast array of uses and implications offensively, defensively, and for general utility. So today we're going to take a look at why flight is one of the most broken abilities a character can have. We'll look at both the perks and drawbacks of playing a flying build. Being able to take to the air grants several advantages to Predator players. Most players have their field of view settings optimized for a horizontal field of view, making it easy to see approaches from the left and right, but difficult to see an attack coming from above. In addition, it's much easier to detect an incoming—
Wait a minute, dogs cannot see up too, right? I'm pretty sure I watched a video from this channel where I don't know, but dogs cannot see up too, I guess.
attack on the ground via sound. Perhaps more importantly, ground-based targets will most likely possess combat options that are most effective against other grounded opponents. Attacks like charge, bite, and stomp are generally much less accurate against airborne opponents. On the flip side, even if your build sports relatively low base attack power, flight offers a few ways to mitigate this. First, the dive attack is a viable offensive move even for builds with low base power. It can deal heavy damage in spite of lacking power stats because its damage scales with mobility rather than power. So the faster you're moving and this move connects, the more damage it does. Secondly, when facing an opponent with defenses too sturdy to be damaged by your basic attacks, you can oftentimes still defeat them as long as you can score a grab. After that, all you need to do is carry them high into the sky and let fall damage defeat them. So obviously, in terms of offensive capabilities, a flying build can add a lot of powerful options to your arsenal.
Yeah, raptors are really terrifying, aren't they? I mean, they can literally lift— I mean, there are some, I think, raptors who are big enough they could lift babies up. I'm pretty sure I've seen somewhere there. So that's just frightening, man. I mean, yeah, just, if they can't do anything, they'll just use gravity to attack you. That's just effed up.
But how about for defense? Being able to fly isn't only useful for Predator builds. It has plenty of uses for avoiding being preyed upon, too. Surviving as a prey build requires mastery of at least one of several potential tactics, including stealth, evasion, counterattacks, and armor. The ability to fly massively improves a player's evasion. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, in most cases during flight, you're immune to attacks from non-flying opponents. Important to note that I said in most cases, not all cases. But yeah, rather than having to worry about armor, stealth, intimidation, or counterattacks, generally all a flying player needs to do to dodge attacks is take off.
Mission failed.
It's perhaps the quickest, most effective escape option in the game, leaving you basically only—
I love that how Cat is like, oh
It's perhaps the
no.
quickest, most
Just
effective
lies
escape
down.
option in the game,
And there you go.
leaving you basically only vulnerable to stealth attacks or attacks from other flying players. And if you're worried about stealth attacks, as you very well should be, the other main defensive advantage flying builds have is being able to land in places that other players can't reach. Places like treetops are great for avoiding most stealth builds, although with enough points spent on climbing or arboreal mobility, it is possible for them to reach you. To truly escape, you'll want to find a cliffside, completely untouchable by non-flying builds, except for maybe the mountain goat, but thankfully they're not aggressive. In addition to being protected from terrestrial players attacking you, flight also allows you to avoid many of the dangerous random events that the game occasionally throws at you. For example, while terrestrial and arboreal builds are likely to get caught in a wildfire, aerial builds don't have much trouble escaping. And in a drought, it's far easier for a player to find the necessary water to survive when they can survey huge amounts of land from the sky rather than, say, hopping along the ground. In addition to surveying,
I mean, yeah, it's pretty defensive. I mean, if you can just basically fly away and go to the place where nobody goes, like high peaks or somewhere. And nowadays, since because of humans, there are metal structures that basically lots of like snakes and things cannot climb because they're hot enough. So they can just create some kind of a nest in top of some kind of metal structures, I guess. So I mean, yeah, you could run away and yeah, you could navigate great too, I guess. Fly away, basically at high speed at long distances. But I feel like as, pure, I guess damage wise, I think stealth builds are more dangerous, like snakes, vipers, and jaguars. I mean, if you fly, if you can fly, people can see you, or all the animals can see you basically. So it's not really stealthy approach. And basically a jaguar or some kind of snake can sneak up on you, like we've seen in this video, how a snake basically grabs a bird there.
Surviving life or death situations, flight has plenty of other applications too. Accessing exclusive locations on the map isn't only good for evading predators. A lot of exclusive loot is reachable only by being able to hover or fly, which is why builds like the Fruit Bat are so successful despite their mediocre stats. But perhaps the most important utility aspect of flight is that it can be used to fast travel. Very few players have the ability to visit other servers with ease, let alone ones that are far apart. Flying builds, on the other hand, frequently change servers, sometimes to find food, and sometimes to avoid ice damage during the Winter Overworld event. And when I say fast travel, I'm not talking about how convenient and direct it is. Flight genuinely is also an extremely fast movement option. There is a reason that when discussing cheetahs and how fast they are, there's a big fat asterisk next to their record speed. Because if you included flying builds, cheetahs wouldn't even be in the top 10. And if you include diving speed, they pale in comparison.
Yeah, Peregrine Falcon. I heard Clarkson say that it can fly over 220 plus speed. And I thought that they could fly directly straight at that speed. And I was literally like, God damn, that's very fast. I mean, I was just imagining the bird flying that fast. I mean, how is that even possible? So apparently that's the case. That's what I thought. Then somebody corrected me in comments. No, they can dive that fast, not fly in straight line. I mean, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But still, a little bit terrifying. Peregrine Falcon just, basically dipping down at that high speed. Woof, that would be so fast.
So obviously the ability to fly is OP, but I don't want to give you the impression that it doesn't come with any drawbacks at all. There are two main ones that I want to highlight. The first is that simply to gain access to the flight ability requires a pretty heavy sacrifice to HP and defense, because you're forced to spec into the Hollow Bones attribute in order to be light enough to fly. Hollow Bones are quite weak to crush damage, meaning that being hit with any significant blow can often break a wing, which is almost always a game over. Players also experience crush damage during a collision, so if you aren't careful while flying and run into something, that can also do huge damage. Because insects don't have an endoskeleton, they don't suffer this same penalty and are actually quite resistant to crush damage compared to similarly sized bats or birds. The other drawback is that during flight you're obviously high above the ground and moving very quickly, and being in this state can make stealth highly effective against you. For this reason, all flying builds that want to play as a predator are forced to spend a ton of evolution points leveling up their eyesight, since basic eyes would be useless in spotting stealthy targets below. So hopefully now you have a good grasp of the benefits and drawbacks to this powerful ability. If you'd like to see aerial builds in action, there are plenty of excellent documentaries I can recommend. For flyers from present day, I highly recommend Jeweled Messengers, a documentary on hummingbirds. And for flyers of the past, there's a fantastic episode of Ancient Earth that deals with the evolution of feathers in dinosaurs, both of which can be found on CuriosityStream.
Yeah, people go to curiositystream.com/TierZoo, support that channel. This is, yeah, basically flying is an OP ability, no doubt about it. It's basically it narrows down all the animals that can hunt you, basically, and especially something like eagles, falcons. They are really dangerous, So, yeah, that's basically flying is OP in a way, not completely OP, but OP enough, I guess. Yeah, and especially that dinosaur time, I haven't reacted to dinosaur video. I think I'm gonna wait a minute. I was gonna react to dinosaur video today, right? I forgot. I'll react to it tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, so that dinosaur that can fly, who was humongous, if thing like that was roaming around today, I think humans would make their first priority to make that thing extinct, because otherwise all humans would be in danger all the time. That's just hyped up. But yeah, right people, that was our flying bills OP. Yeah, they are by the TierZoo. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast playlist. Check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.